This episode from the life of Sherlock Holmes will be transmitted to our men and women overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invites you to spend the next half hour listening to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And say, let me tell you something I found out just the other day. Steaks are really back again. Good, thick, juicy porterhouse steaks. That's for me. A thick, tender steak on the rare side, together with a glass of Petri California Burgundy. You know, Petri Burgundy is a perfect mealtime wine. And with meat or any meat dish, it's the very last word in good eating. Honestly, when you taste the wonderful flavor of that rich red Petri Burgundy, you're tasting one swell example of the art of winemaking. It's full-flavored and just about the most delicious wine that ever poured from a bottle. Try it the next time you have steak or chops, or the next time you have hamburger or pot roast. Believe me, Petri Burgundy is the best friend a good meal ever had. And now let's look in on our good friend and host, Dr. Watson.
Come in. Ah, there you are, Mr. Bartell.
Evening, Doctor.
Just in time to join me in a cup of coffee. Draw up your chair, young fellow, my lad.
Thank you.
Ah, that's it.
Well, Doctor, you told us last week that tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure takes us to the south of France.
That's right, Mr. Bartell. The south of France in the year 1900. A beautiful playground bordered by the bluest of blue seas and populated with an extraordinary cross-section of cosmopolitan Europe. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. All of them attracted by that Riviera paradise. All of them drawn by the magical spell of a small white ball spinning round the rim of a roulette wheel.
Now, don't tell me that you and the great Sherlock Holmes were there on a gambling spree.
We were not, Mr. Bartell. At the time my story begins, we just concluded an extremely delicate mission. A mission, I may say, that concerned the safety and good name of a very prominent member of the royal family.
Say, Doctor, you don't mean...
One story at a time, Mr. Bartell. In any event, my boy, I'm afraid that's a case about which my lips are sealed for all time. But to return to tonight's adventure, one June evening, I persuaded Holmes to accompany me to the gambling casino at Fréjus, not far from Cannes, where we were staying. It wasn't quite as fashionable as the casino at Monte Carlo, but as I intended to do a little modest gambling myself, it seemed an establishment more suited to my means. As we stood there at the green baize-covered tables, the chatter of voices and the melodic chanting of the croupiers as they called the results of each spin of the wheel formed a background to a quiet conversation that Holmes and I were having.
Lost again, Watson?
Oh, confounded. That number 10 must come up soon.
Oh, why not cut your losses, old fellow, and come for a stroll with me on the waterfront?
Well, just a big wait. A couple more bets, Holmes. I have a feeling that 10 is bound to come up in a minute.
Watson, I believe the blood of a gambler courses through your veins.
Oh, there's no harm in taking a little flutter once in a while. Why don't you risk a few francs, Holmes?
No, thank you, my dear chap. The law of averages convinces me that my money is safer in my pocket. In any case, I'm a little dubious as to the integrity of this particular casino.
Well, what makes you say that?
Well, you will observe that this roulette wheel has a double zero. Most continental wheels have only a single one. It would indicate that this house is extremely concerned with its percentage.
Mesdames et messieurs, faites vos jeux.
Oh, just 2 more turns of the wheel, Holmes, and I'll take that walk with you.
Why müssen Sie hier spielen? Why do you not play from the other side of the table? Why must you always stand next to me?
Hello. What's the trouble up there?
I've placed my bet, so let's go and see.
I ask you, sir, why do you play here beside me?
I'm afraid I don't see any reason why I can't play wherever I...
Swish, you've broken my luck. Ever since you come to the table, I've done nothing but lose. Please to move away.
Well, move away yourself if you don't like my company.
Heinrich, why do you not stop now? You've already lost more than we can afford.
One more throw, Elsa. I can win it all back if only this young man will move away.
Why should my husband move? He's had a bad run of luck, too.
Oui, ne va plus. Neuf.
Rouge, impériment.
Ah, you've lost again, Watson.
Heinrich, you must stop now.
I must stop inside because I've lost everything. I hope you're satisfied, Mr. American. You've broken my luck and ruined me. I hope that you and your turn will be ruined too.
Heinrich, wait for me.
I never heard such rubbish in my life. Were you listening to him, sir?
I heard his last few remarks, Mr.
Gilbert. Roger Gilbert. And this is my wife, Helen.
How do you do? My name is Holmes, and this is my friend, Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
How do you do? Didn't you think his remarks were a little out of place, Doctor?
I certainly did, Mrs. Gilbert. I don't see how he can possibly blame your husband for his run of bad luck.
I didn't like the look on his face as he left the table, though. Have you any idea who he is?
His name is Schneemann. He's staying at the same hotel as we are. I've never spoken to him, but I've heard him being paged there.
Well, you shouldn't gamble unless he can afford to lose.
Well, I'm losing, darling, and I can't afford it.
Oh, but I can let you have more money. You know that.
Oh, no, Helen, I may have married an heiress, but I'm not going to use her fortune to gamble with.
Oh.
I'll lose my own money, and then I'll quit.
Mesdames et messieurs, faites vos jeux.
You lost it, Watson?
Yes, Holmes, this time I know that number 10 is going to come up. It's got to.
Numéro 10.
I've lost again, darn it. Helen, this is my bad night.
Well, why don't you stop now, dear?
Holmes, I've made 350 francs.
On this throw of the wheel, old fellow, but as you've lost some 500 francs doing it, I can't say that your profits stagger me.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, I can see that you're no gambler.
I'm afraid not, Mrs.
I
Gilbert.
wouldn't say that, Holmes. You may not like roulette. You've taken a good many chances in your life with long odds against you, too.
Well, nevertheless, old chap, in the sense Mrs. Gilbert means it, I'm not a gambler.
Say, what's the commotion over there?
That German woman with a crowd forming around her.
Yes, the wife of that man that said I ruined him.
Attention! Est-ce qu'il y a un docteur dans la salle?
There must be trouble. He's asking for a doctor.
Doctor, come along, then.
Will you excuse me, please? Thank you. Excuse me, madame. Mon ami est docteur.
Monsieur, cette dame a besoin d'un docteur.
What happened, madame?
It is my husband.
Deal?
I just found him lying out in the garden. Please come with me at once, gentlemen.
Of course we will, madam.
What seems to be the matter with him?
Herr Doctor, I think he is dead. He's lying by that tree, Doctor. Please see if you can help him.
Somebody else seems to be on the scene before us. Who are you, sir?
I am Monsieur Chevret, director of the casino. Do any of you know this poor man?
I am his wife. Is he dead?
I am afraid so, madame.
Let me look at him. I'm a doctor.
Was your husband gambling in the casino tonight, madame?
Yeah, he was. Poor Heinrich. He lost everything that we have.
I'm afraid he's dead, madam. Shot through the heart.
Oh, du lieber Gott.
Suicide, Watson?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yes. Powder burns on the shirt front, revolver clutched in the right hand, fingers in a natural position. The angle of the wound settles it. Obviously self-inflicted.
I missed you as you slipped out of the casino. What's wrong with him?
I'm afraid he's dead, Mr. Gilbert.
Yes, he committed suicide. I hope, young man, that you are satisfied. All night you brought him bad luck. He asked you to move away from him to change his luck, but no, you could not do it.
Oh, Frau Schneemann, I'm terribly sorry, but I really don't see how you can blame me.
I do blame you, and I also blame you, Monsieur Chevry.
Me? But what have I done, madame?
Why do you let a man lose all his money at your tables? Is life so cheap to you, and money so important, that you cannot close the tables to someone before he's ruined?
Madame, I am all sympathy for you in your tragic loss. But the casino cannot be held responsible. If your husband could not afford to gamble, then he should not come here. How are we to know the financial limitations of our customers?
You said that your husband lost everything you had tonight, madam.
Yeah, everything.
Then how do you account for this sheaf of banknotes in his breast pocket?
Good Lord, must be several thousand francs, sir.
Then he wasn't ruined.
And his suicide, therefore, cannot be blamed on his losses at my casino, madame.
How do you account for this money, Frau Schneemann?
Well, I do not understand. Heinrich kept nothing from me. I know that he had not so much money on him when he started tonight. Well, why do you all look at me like that? Is it that you think? You think...
Quick, Watson, she's fainted.
I've got her. Let's get her to her room.
You can take her to my suite in the casino.
No, let's take her to the hotel. My wife will look after her. Poor woman, she's had a dreadful shock. She can probably do with another woman's company.
That's very considerate of you, Mr. Gilbert. Where are you staying?
At the Hotel Crillon. It's quite near here.
I'll get a cab, and while I'm doing that, Watson, see if you can revive her, will you?
Yes,
Then we'll take her to the Hotel Crillon. Very kind of you, Mrs. Gilbert, to let us bring the poor lady into your suite.
Well, it's the least I can do, in spite of what she said about Roger bringing her husband bad luck.
I'm sure she'll need your help when she wakes up, Helen.
Yes, I think you'll find that she'll sleep for some hours. I gave her a strong sedative.
Well, we were just about to have a drink, gentlemen. Do you care to join us?
Oh, thank you, sir.
Well, that'd be very nice, Mr. Gilbert.
Roger was just telling me that quite a large sum of money was found on Herr Shademan's body, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, Mrs. Gilbert. Several thousand francs.
It's very puzzling, Holmes. Why should a man commit suicide with so much money on him?
I think the answer is obvious. He didn't.
What on earth do you mean?
Well, the money was placed there after he had shot himself. The banknotes were in his breast pocket, if you remember. Hardly the usual place to carry money. Though it is the easiest pocket for someone to insert it without disturbing the body.
But why on earth should someone place money on him after his suicide?
To prevent the casino from getting a bad name. I've heard of it being done on several similar occasions. Gives the impression that the unfortunate victim had other motives than gambling losses to account for his suicide.
Great Scott, you mean that one of the casino employees found the body lying there and slipped the money in his breast pocket before we arrived on the scene?
As you know, my dear Watson, I'm not a gambling man, but I'll lay you 100 to 1. That is what happened.
Well, that's a new one. Well, here are your drinks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Say, Helen, Mr. Holmes has given me a brainwave.
Another one? What is it this time, Roger?
Now, I've been losing very heavily tonight.
Roger, I've told you, if you need money, I'll be only...
But I don't. I've got a scheme for making some. I'm going to gamble again tonight after dinner. If I lose, here's what I'll do. I'll stain my shirt front with red ink, walk out in the grounds, fire a shot, and lie down as though I'm dead. I'll wait for someone to come along and stuff my pockets full of banknotes.
Not a bad idea, Mr. Gilbert.
I think it's a darn good one. What do you say, Mr. Holmes?
It's a whimsical one at any rate. Who knows? You might even be successful.
Roger, you're not really going to do it, are you?
Sure. Perhaps I'll get some of my losses back that way. Well, let's drink to it, gentlemen. At least I may have hit upon an idea of making money.
My dear Watson, you'll have to work hard at your practice when you get back to England. Your infallible system appears to be extremely fallible.
And yet the fellow who told me about it said it couldn't miss. It's just a matter of doubling the stakes each time you lose, and then...
Oh, my dear fellow, I've been studying your system, but I can tell you a really infallible way of making money at roulette.
You can? What is it?
Well, own the gambling house and operate the tables yourself. The odds would be all in your favor.
Oh, what a brilliant suggestion. The gambling house will not work before.
Not gambling for tonight, Watson? It's nearly 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think so. Let's take a stroll round the other table, shall we?
By the way, old fellow, the young American, Mr. Gilbert, was losing heavily again tonight.
He was? I wonder if he'll try that trick that he threatened. The one with the red ink and the shot in the night.
I shouldn't be at all surprised. As a matter of interest, I saw him leave the tables about half an hour ago.
Here comes his wife, on the arm of Monsieur Chevrier, the director of the casino.
Good evening, Mrs. Gilbert. Monsieur?
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Hello, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson. Monsieur Chevrier is giving me a personally conducted tour of the casino. It's quite fascinating.
And it is quite fascinating for me to have so beautiful a woman on my arm, mademoiselle. I know that I am the envy of all the men in the room.
Oh, stop flattering me so much. I'm not used to it.
Mrs. Gilbert, how is, Frau Schneemann?
She seems much better. She wakened an hour ago and insisted on going back to her own room. I wanted her to spend the night with us in our suite, but she wouldn't hear of it.
I think I should drop in and see her before I go to bed.
Oh, you have finished the gambling for tonight, perhaps, Doctor?
No, perhaps about it, Monsieur Chevrier. I've had a bad run at the tables.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Has anyone seen Roger?
He left the tables about half an hour ago, Mrs. Gilbert.
After doing as I did and losing quite heavily.
So he lost again, did he? I wonder if he'll try that new system he was talking about.
We were just discussing that possibility ourselves, Mrs. Gilbert.
Mrs. Gilbert! Mrs. Gilbert!
Frau Schneemann, you shouldn't have left your hotel, you know.
It is too late to worry for me, Herr Doctor. It is for Mrs. Gilbert now that you should worry.
What do you mean, madame?
Well, I went back just now to where poor Heinrich died. And there, lying in the grass, I saw another body. I was too shocked to go too close. But I am quite sure that I recognize your husband, Mrs. Gilbert.
Oh, Dr. Watson, she's ruined Roger's trick.
And he'll have taken fright and bolted by the time we get there.
Possibly. Let's go at once and find out, shall we?
He hasn't gone. He's still lying there.
It's a most convincing spectacle. That red ink really does look like blood.
Yes. And blood sometimes looks like red ink. Mr. Gilbert.
Roger, get up. The joke's spoiled. Roger! Get up!
I'm afraid that's impossible, Mrs. Gilbert. He's dead.
Dr. Watson's story will be continued in just a second, which is all the time I need to tell you that the easiest way I know to transform a simple meal into a feast is to serve that meal together with Petri California Sauterne. Petri Sauterne is a delicate white wine that's the perfect companion for chicken or turkey. Turkey. Ah, yes. Turkey and Petri Sauterne. That's the heart of any Thanksgiving dinner. Look, why not make this Thanksgiving dinner the best one you ever had? Give it the air of a banquet. Serve it with Petri Sauterne. And when you buy that Sauterne or any wine for your Thanksgiving dinner, whatever you do, look for the letters Petri, because a Petri wine is always a good wine. Well, Doctor, so the young American's joke turned out to be another tragedy.
Yes, Mr. Bartell. The poor fellow was lying there dead with a bullet wound in the heart and a great splash of blood staining the whiteness of his shirt front.
What happened next?
Monsieur Chevre, director of the casino, took the distraught widow away from the scene, while Holmes and I examined the body closely. Within a few minutes, we were joined by Inspector Ganivet of the French police. As we stood there in the moonlight, the sounds of music could be heard from the casino. It was hard to believe that two men had died in that lovely garden since the moon had risen.
Monsieur Holmes, you and Dr. Watson have concluded your examination?
Yes, Inspector Ganivet.
Will you favor me with your observations? You say that you are certain that this is not another suicide?
I'm sure of it, Inspector. Look at the wound. The bullet entered the body at a direct right angle, whereas a self-inflicted shot is always fired obliquely.
Yes, that is so. Then you suggest that this man was shot from above as he lay on the ground pretending to be dead?
I'm convinced of it.
Why, Monsieur Holmes?
Well, for two reasons. Though it's impossible to be sure without a laboratory test, I'm certain that beneath those blood stains are stains of red ink. Look for yourself, Inspector.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed it does look like it. What is your other reason for being certain that this man was shot as he lay here pretending dead?
Show him the banknotes, Watson.
Here you are, Inspector. We found them stuffed in his breast pocket.
So, banknotes with a bullet hole through the middle of them. Very illuminating. Tell me, gentlemen, how many people knew of this little plot you have told me about, this plan of the dead man's to pretend to be shot?
Just 3 people, Inspector. Dr. Watson, myself, and Mrs. Gilbert.
Alors, then the answer is obvious. You and your friend are innocent. It must be the wife who killed him. No one else knew of the plot.
I'm not so sure of that. Frau Schneemann, the dead German's widow, was in the next room when Gilbert told us about his plan. She might have heard, though I could swear that she was asleep. I gave her a very strong sleeping draught.
From what you have told me of her husband's suicide, she might easily have had a motive for murdering this man.
Come, gentlemen. Surely it's obvious who murdered Mr. Gilbert?
Who, Monsieur Holmes?
Well, it's certainly one of the 2 widows.
Since there seems to be some doubt in your minds, I suggest we return to the casino. I can promise you the answer to your question within a very few minutes. Well, Monsieur Chevre, Now that we're all assembled in your office, I shall sit down quietly and let Inspector Ganivet conduct his examination.
No, Monsieur Holmes. No, you have handled the case so far. Please to continue it to the end.
Yes, Monsieur Holmes. I should appreciate it. On behalf of the casino.
Very well, gentlemen. It won't take me long. Frau Schneemann.
Ja, Herr Holmes.
What time did you leave your hotel tonight?
Well, I do not know what time it was.
Well, what made you leave it?
I could not sleep. I knew that they had taken poor Heinrich's body away, but I felt that I must walk back there. It was the last place I saw him alive.
How close did you come to Mr. Gilbert's body when you saw it lying there?
Oh, close enough to see who it was. Then I ran into the casino to tell his wife. I knew what had happened.
How did you know? You say you didn't come close to the body.
I could tell by every line of the body as it lay there. I could tell because I knew that poor Heinrich's death would not be avenged.
Thank you, Frau Schneemann. That will be all. You may go.
Monsieur Holmes, she has no alibi. Surely you should stop her.
Inspector Ganivet, if I'm to conduct this investigation, I must do it in my own way.
Pardon, Monsieur Holmes. Please continue.
You may go, Frau Schneemann. Mrs. Gilbert?
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Where were you prior to our meeting in the casino tonight, just before we discovered your husband's body?
After I left the hotel, I walked over here along the seafront.
Can anyone verify that statement?
I suppose not. I didn't meet anyone that I knew.
And what did you do when you arrived at the casino?
I played a little chemin de fer. A few moments later, Monsieur Chevrolet came over to the table and asked if he might escort me over the club. 10 minutes after that, we walked into you and Dr. Watson.
That is quite true, Monsieur Holmes. I can swear to it.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilbert. I'm sorry to distress you with these questions. You may go.
I'll wait outside, Mr. Holmes. I must know what happened.
Wait for me there, madame. I shall join you in a few minutes and escort you home.
Well, another suspect with a poor alibi, eh, Ganivet?
I must say, Monsieur Holmes, your methods puzzle me. It seems to me that both those women should be watched.
Yes, I agree with the Inspector, Holmes.
Please don't worry, Inspector. I've asked two of your plainclothes men to keep an eye on the ladies. And now, Monsieur Chevrolet, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Ask me any questions you wish, Monsieur Holmes.
Thank you. You will agree that it is the custom of the casino to put money on the bodies of suicides after their death, to give the impression that gambling losses were not responsible for the tragedy.
Well, I do not think...
Oh, come now, Chevrolet. I know that is a fact as well as you do.
Exactly. Now, on those rather gruesome occasions, whose responsibility is it to secrete the money? Yours? Or do you entrust the matter to an underling?
I do it myself.
I see. Did you place the money on Herr Schneemann tonight?
Yes, monsieur, I did.
And did you also perform the same service on the body of Mr. Gilbert?
No. I knew nothing of that death until the German lady Frau Schneemann come running into the casino.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre, presented by Camel Cigarettes.
But, Countess, are you sure you want to put all your winnings on a single card?
Absolutely sure, my dear Duke.
Well, I don't know how it is in Russia, but here in Paris, it is very seldom that anyone wins on 3 cards in succession.
The game of faro is the same in Russia as anywhere else. But I wish to put the whole amount, 400,000 francs, on my next card.
As you wish, madame. I will deal.
I have won.
No.
Look, I have won. See, Duke, you were wrong.
Yes, I was wrong.
Heavens. What's the matter?
Each week at this time, Camel Cigarettes bring you Peter Lorre in the excitement of the great stories of the strange and unusual, of dark and compelling masterpieces culled from the 4 corners of world literature. Tonight, The Queen of Spades by Alexander Pushkin.
Mystery in the Air, starring Peter Lorre.
Brought to you by Camel Cigarettes. Experience is the best teacher. Try a Camel. Let your own experience tell you why more people are smoking Camels than ever before. Yes, just leave it to your T-zone to judge. Your T-zone, that's T for taste and T for throat, is your true proving ground for any cigarette. See if Camel's rich, full flavor doesn't get highest rating with your taste, and if Camel's cool mildness isn't more than welcome to your throat. See if you don't find, like millions of other smokers, that Camels suit your T-zone to a T.
The story I'm about to tell you, you may not believe, but I assure you it actually happened. Now, the whole thing started one night when a group of young officers were having a game of cards at the rooms of Narumov of the Horse Guard. There were 5 of us there, including a lieutenant in the engineers named Hermann. He was the son of a German who had become a naturalized Russian. And he was an ambitious young man of strong passions and imagination, which he held in check by an even stronger will. Thus, though a born gambler at heart, Hermann never touched a card, for he considered his financial position did not allow it. Oh, I remember that night. At about 4 a.m, we all sat down to supper.
Oh, I'm not hungry.
How did you make out, Surin?
I lost.
You always lose, Surin. You must be very strong-minded to be so consistent. If you think he is strong-minded, how about yourself, Hermann?
Me? Why me? You never held a card in your hand or made a bet. And yet you sit here until 4 o'clock in the morning watching us play.
Well, Tomsky, you see, gambling interests me. It interests me very much. In fact, I'm a gambler at heart, but I'm not in a financial position to sacrifice the necessary in a hope for winning the superfluous. In other words, I cannot afford it.
That doesn't explain anything. We none of us can afford it.
Oh, Hermann's easy enough to understand. He's of German descent. Therefore, he's thrifty.
Right.
It's my grandmother, the Countess Fedotovna, who baffles me. You know, she won't gamble either.
Oh, lots of grandmothers don't gamble. St. Petersburg is full of them.
Yes, but they don't know the secret my grandmother knows.
Huh? Secret? What kind of secret does she know?
Something we'd all of us give a lot to possess.
Huh?
Yeah, a combination of 3 cards that can't fail to win at the faro table.
Oh, there's no such thing.
What are you trying to tell us?
Oh, let's go home. It's
Wait,
late.
Tomsky, I'd like to know more about this secret.
What do you care, Herman? You don't gamble.
Still, I'd like to hear about it.
All right. Many years ago, when my grandmother was a lot younger, she went to Paris. Oh, she must have been quite a sensation. The Muscovite Venus, they called her. Anyway, she gambled at faro with the Duke of Orleans. Lost a great deal of money, much more than she could pay.
Yeah, who does?
Come on, keep quiet, will you?
Well, there was at that time a Count Saint-Germain in Paris, a mysterious figure that no one knew much about. Well, be that as it may, he revealed to my grandmother the secret of the 3 winning cards.
And did she win?
That night, she played again with the Duke d'Orléans.
Yeah?
Played the 3 cards, one after the other, doubling her bet each time. And all 3 won, and she recovered everything she had lost 10 times over.
Oh, a little hard on the Duke, don't you think?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he dropped dead, I believe. It was a long time ago.
Come on, Tomsky. Go on with the story.
Well, that's all there is. My grandmother never touched a card again.
You mean she knows how to pick 3 winning cards in succession, and you haven't succeeded in getting the secret out of her?
That's the devil of it. She had 4 sons, one of whom was my father, and yet she would never reveal the secret to any of them, though it wouldn't have been a bad thing for them.
No, for you either, huh? I've had enough. I'm going home.
Well, I'll go along with you.
All right, come along.
Tomsky, tell me, this grandmother of yours, Countess Fedotovna, does she live in St. Petersburg?
Yes, with a ward of hers named Lizavieta. Poor girl, she is supposed to be my grandmother's companion, but slave would be a better word for it.
Your grandmother's a widow?
Yes. Oh, now, don't get your hopes up, Herman. She's a bit too old for you. She's 86 if she's a day.
Still, I should like to meet her.
No, there's not much chance of it, I'm afraid. She doesn't go about much anymore.
I still should like to meet her. Yes, I should like to meet her very much.
Well, Lizaveta,
Hello, Paul.
don't tell me my grandmother is here.
No, but she is going to the embassy ball tomorrow. Tonight, I came alone.
Oh, while the cat's at home, the mouse will play, hmm? What's this I've been hearing about you?
About me?
All very romantic, I understand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come, Lizaveta. You can't tell me that you don't know about the mysterious officer who's been standing outside the house for the last 2 weeks? About the notes he hands you when you get into the carriage with my grandmother? About the letters he sends by the milliner's girl?
Who told you?
Great friend of your officer. A lieutenant in the engineers named Herman.
Herman. Oh, yes, I think I've heard of him. Is he nice?
Oh, I like him very much. But he's a very determined young man and means to get what he wants. Personally, I wouldn't trust him. He has the profile of Napoleon and the soul of Mephistopheles.
Oh, good evening, Tomsky. Good evening.
Speak of the devil. Hello there, Herman. Lizaveta, may I present Lieutenant Herman?
Mademoiselle.
The man we were just talking about. Herman, this is Lizaveta Ivanovna. It's my grandmother's ward.
How do you do, Mademoiselle Lizaveta?
How do you do, Lieutenant?
Would you like to dance?
Yes, I would like to.
Good. See you later, Tomsky. Oh, this is paradise, Lizaveta. Holding you in my arms, feeling your heart beat against mine.
No, you mustn't say things like that. People will hear you. They'll talk.
I don't care.
They're talking already. Why did you make up that story about your imaginary friend to tell Thompson?
Because I didn't want him to know it was I, and I had to talk about you to somebody.
I hope the Comtesse doesn't hear about it.
Devil with her. It's not the Countess I'm in love with. It's you. Oh, Lizaveta, this is so wonderful. It makes up for all those nights I stood outside your house and...
Look, they're in the door. The Comtesse's coachman come to fetch me. I must go home.
When am I going to see you again?
I don't know.
Oh, but this is horrible. My heart is burning with things I want to tell you, but I can never see you alone. There must be some way.
There is a way.
Yes, how?
Take this.
Oh.
This is the key to the Comtesse's house.
Oh, Lizaveta.
Tomorrow night, we're going to the embassy ball. We'll be home at 2. If you let yourself into the house at about 11:30, all the servants will be asleep.
Yes, I will.
Go directly to the library. It's at the right end of the corridor at the top of the stairs. Wait for me there.
Right end of the corridor. Oh, you sweet Lizaveta. I adore you. Where's the Countess' room?
At the other end of the corridor. Why do you ask me that?
I don't want to get into the wrong room by mistake.
But now I must go.
Till tomorrow night at 2 o'clock. Au revoir, chérie. Mademoiselle, good night.
Good night, my child.
Comtesse, are you sure there's nothing you want me to do for you?
No, nothing, thank you, Lizaveta. I think I will just put my jewels away and sit quietly a while by myself. Good night.
Good night.
I am so tired. So very tired. I am too old to go.
Don't be alarmed, madame.
Who are you?
Please don't be alarmed, Countess. I have no intention of harming you, but please.
How did you get in my bedroom?
I have been waiting behind that curtain, waiting just for the chance to ask you a favor.
A favor?
Yes.
Of me?
Yes, a favor of you, madame. You can ensure the happiness of my life. It'll cost you nothing.
I don't know who you are, but you're mad.
No, I'm not. I happen to know that you can name 3 winning cards in order and...
Oh, that was a joke.
No, it was not a joke. Oh, I can see it by your expression, madame. Madame, I want you to tell me those 3 winning cards. I do.
No.
But whom are you keeping that secret for, huh? Your grandsons, they are rich enough without it. Besides, they don't know the value of money, but I do. Your cards will not be thrown away.
No. It is a crest. It brings death.
I'll chance that. Of what use is it to you? Or is it connected with some terrible sin or some bargain with the devil, huh? I'm ready to take your sins upon my soul, only please reveal the secret to me.
No.
Please.
What?
You won't catch. I'll make you answer.
No,
I want
no.
You have my happiness in your hands.
No.
I'll take you to...
Let go,
you
no.
won't speak, huh? I'll make you... I'll... She wouldn't tell me.
Are you all right? I heard voices. Comtesse, is everything... You?
Yes, it is I.
But I don't understand. Where's the Comtesse?
There she is.
Comtesse, what's...
It's no use. She's dead. Yes, dead. She's taking with her the one thing I wanted in the world. Without which I don't want to face life.
You killed her!
Yes, but you're not going to say anything to her. No one knows I was in the house except you. You can't tell because you gave me the key.
But you killed her?
Yes, I killed her. She deserved to die. But now I'll never know her secret. Never. No one will ever know her secret. Unless she comes back to tell it to somebody.
In a few moments, Mr. Peter Lorre will bring us the climax of tonight's Mystery in the Air, when Camels present Act 2 of The Queen of Spades.
Experience is the best teacher.
Remember the wartime cigarette shortage? Who doesn't? One thing about it, though, smokers who went through it really learned a lot about cigarettes. They had first-hand experience with many different brands.
How true. Goodness, we certainly smoked whatever brands we could get in those days. I smoked so many different brands, I'm practically a walking encyclopedia about cigarettes. Well, I'm a Camel smoker now. And believe me, I know Camel's the cigarette for me, because I've compared so many brands.
Yes, smoking whatever brands they could get during the wartime cigarette shortage made people everywhere experts on judging the differences in cigarette quality. That experience convinced a host of smokers that they preferred the rich, full flavor and cool mildness of Camel. Result?
More people are smoking Camels than ever before.
Experience is the best teacher. Try a Camel yourself.
So the Countess is dead, and now the funeral is in progress. What a stupendous funeral. The huge church is banked with flowers, all the way from the doors to the catafalque where the coffin rests. And such a distinguished group of mourners. It almost seems as if all Imperial Russia is there.
Topsy. Sad occasion, eh?
Yes. Well, I suppose the old girl had to go sooner or later. Oh, there were times when I doubted she ever would.
What'd she die of?
Well, heart attack, they said. Why?
Oh, I've heard rumors. You know how those things are. Something about bruises on her throat.
Oh, no. No, nothing to it, no. The doctor said she could have inflicted those herself when she had trouble breathing.
Hello, Tomsky. My condolences.
Oh, thank you for coming, Herman. That's very nice of you. You never met my grandmother, did you?
No, I didn't, but that's no reason I shouldn't show my respect. After all, you're my friend.
I beg your pardon, but would you gentlemen care to view the remains before the services commence?
I suppose I should, anyway.
Oh, yes, by all means.
I'll come, too, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Come along. Doesn't she look peaceful? Poor old girl, I was fond of her.
Wait, did you see that?
What? See what?
Look, one of her eyelids moved.
What?
I tell you...
Herman, be quiet.
But I saw it. Her eyelids moved as if she winked at me. As if she winked.
He's fainting.
A fine example of an army officer fainting at a funeral.
No, maybe he's sick. Come on, help me carry him out of here.
I know. I shall never get to sleep. My conscience won't let me. Oh, why did I do it? Why did I go to that cursed funeral? Just because my conscience said you are the murderer of that old woman. I wanted to implore her pardon, but she winked at me. I could swear it, she did. Who's there? Who?
You do not recognize me. You have a short memory.
Countess,
I have come back from the beyond against my wishes. I have been ordered to grant your request.
Grant my request?
Yes. 3, 7, and ace will win for you if played in succession.
3, 7, and an ace.
But only on these conditions.
Anything at all.
You do not play more than one card in 24 hours. And that you never play cards again during the rest of your life.
I promise. 3, 7, and an ace. 3, 7, and an ace. Oh, I must remember it. 3, 7, ace. 3, 7, ace. Come in.
Oh, there you are, Herman. Are you all right?
All right. Yes, all right. Yes, I'm all right.
That's good. We were worried about you. We hadn't seen you since you collapsed at my grandmother's funeral.
Oh, that was terrible, Lieutenant. And an officer shouldn't faint. I hope you'll forgive me for what happened yesterday.
Oh, that's all right. Could have happened to anyone. But it wasn't yesterday, you know. It was the day before.
Day before? Oh, I don't remember that.
You must have been pretty sick to lose a whole day like that. What got into you?
Chomsky, will you do me a favor?
If I can. What is it?
I've heard a lot about a certain Chekalinsky and the gambling that goes on at his house every night.
Oh, yes. Chekalinsky has practically spent his whole life at the card table.
That's what I heard.
Oh, he's amassed millions at it, but what?
I should like to go there.
Oh, you want to watch them play faro at Chekalinsky?
No, I want to play.
You want to play?
Yes.
What's happened to you, Herman? I thought you couldn't afford to gamble.
Yes, but now I can. You see, I have a little legacy left from my father. And
congratulations.
I feel I'm in luck. When can you take me?
Anytime.
Tonight?
Yes, if you feel up to it.
Good, that's very good. We'll go to Chekalinsky's tonight, huh? Chomsky, honestly, I've never seen such a magnificent establishment. Never in my life have I seen such a place.
It's all paid for by fellows like you who felt they were in luck. Look, there's Chekalinsky at the faro table.
Where? Oh.
Come on over, I'll introduce you. But don't say I didn't warn you.
Good evening, Chomsky.
Chekalinsky, I want you to meet a friend of mine, Lieutenant Herman. Herman, this is the famous Chekalinsky.
Good evening.
Enchanté.
Herman seems to feel particularly fortunate tonight. Do you suppose he could sit in and take a card?
A friend of yours? But of course.
Good luck, Herman.
Thanks.
Will you be kind enough to select your card, please?
Thank you. This is my card.
And how much would you like to bet, Lieutenant?
I would like to bet 47,000 rubles.
Forgive me, Lieutenant, but we only play for cash.
It's quite all right. I have it. Money's right here.
Are you crazy, Herman?
You're playing pretty high, Lieutenant. Nobody here has ever staked anything like that on one card before.
Well, do you accept it or don't you?
I accept it.
Then if you'll be kind enough to deal.
As you wish. 9, 3.
Herman is 1. 1. Look, his card is a 3.
Well, congratulations, Lieutenant. Do you want me to settle with you now?
If you please.
Here you are. 47,000 rubles.
No.
Would you like to try again?
No. Not tonight, but tomorrow night I'll be back to try another card.
Well, Lieutenant, what do you want to wager tonight?
Same stake as last night, plus my winnings, 94,000 rubles.
Just as you say. You have picked your card. I will deal. Knave. 7.
Look, Herman's won again. The card is returned.
There you are. 94,000 rubles.
Thank you, sir. I shall see you again tomorrow night.
He said he'd be here tonight.
I don't believe he'll show up. He'd be a fool to go.
Here he
comes now with Tomsky.
Now, he can't win 3 times in a row. He just impossible.
Gentlemen, quiet, please. Well, Lieutenant Herman, how much do you wish to bet tonight?
Same stake plus my winnings. Here it is. 180,000 rubles.
On one card?
Yes.
Herman, don't you think that...
Please be quiet, Tomsky. I know what I'm doing.
Gentlemen, please. Will you choose your card, Lieutenant?
I have it. Will you please deal?
Queen. Ace.
I win again. Ace wins. Here it is.
Huh? If you'd been holding an ace, you would have won. But you haven't an ace. You have a queen, and it loses.
What do you mean?
You weren't holding an ace, my dear fellow. You have the queen of spades.
Queen?
Look
Queen
at it yourself.
Queen of spades? What? It isn't possible. I have... Yes, it is. Yes, it is the queen of spades, huh? Now I see it, but... Look, it... No, it isn't the queen of spades. It's the countess. Look! See the resemblance? Yes, oh. She's tricked me. She's deliberately tricked me.
What are you talking about?
Your grandmother, the countess. She told me 3, 7, and 8.
She told you?
Yes,
Well, you never met her.
I did meet her. I waited for her one night in her bedroom, and I pleaded with her. But she refused to tell me. She refused to tell me her secret. And then I took her by the throat.
And you killed her.
Huh?
You took her by the throat and strangled her.
I killed her, yes, but she didn't tell me that. But then one night she came back. She came back from the grave, and she told me 3 cards. It was 7. But she lied. She lied to me. Oh, that dirty woman. She's gotten her revenge. I've lost all the money I had in the world, but I don't care anymore. But I'll show her. Stop!
You murdered the countess. You'll hang for that.
Let them hang me. Let them hang me. I'll get even with her. Beyond the grave, I'll get even with her.
He's gone mad.
I'll be glad when they hang me. I'll be glad when they hang me.
But they didn't hang him. He is spending the rest of his life in room 17 of the Obukhov Hospital. He never answers any question, but constantly mutters the same things.
3, 7, ace. 3, 7,
and free Camels to Service Men's Hospital from coast to coast. This week, the Camels go to Veterans Hospital, American Lake, Washington, U.S. Army and Navy General Hospital, Hot Springs, Arkansas, U.S. Naval Hospital, Brooklyn, New York, U.S. Marine Hospital, Detroit, Michigan, and Veterans Hospital, Perry Point, Maryland.
There are many doctors among America's millions of camel smokers. In fact,
according to a nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
this survey was made by 3 leading independent research organizations who questioned 113,597 doctors living in every state of the Union. What cigarette do you smoke, doctor? The brand named most was Camel.
Next week, Mystery in the Air, starring Mr. Peter Lorre, brings you one of the greatest American classics of all time, The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe, with a special musical score composed and conducted by Paul Barron.
Mr. Pipe Smoker, do you get the greatest possible enjoyment from your pipe? Do you pack it full of mellow, mild Prince Albert? Prince Albert, you know, is a rich, full-flavored tobacco, specially made for smoking pleasure, specially treated to ensure against tongue bite, crimp cut to burn slow, smoke cool. No wonder more pipes smoke Prince Albert than any other tobacco. See if Prince Albert doesn't give you a better smoke. Be sure to listen to Prince Albert's Grand Ole Opry Saturday night for a rollicking half hour of folk tunes and humor with your favorite stars, Red Foley, Minnie Pearl, Rod Brassfield, and the rest of the Opry gang. And as Red's special guest, Judy Martin. Yes, folks, Prince Albert's Grand Ole Opry, Saturday night over NBC.
Listen again next week at this same time when the makers of Camel cigarettes present Mr. Peter Lorre in Mystery in the Air. The artists supporting Mr. Lorre tonight were Henry Morgan, Lorene Tuttle, Peggy Weber, Ben Wright, Louis Van Ruten, Stanley Waxman, Jack Edwards Jr., and Rolf Sedan. This is Michael Roy in Hollywood wishing you all a pleasant good night for Camels.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Presents the Screen Guild Players. The Screen Guild play tonight, The Maltese Falcon. The starring players.
This is Humphrey Bogart.
This is Mary Astor.
This is Sidney Greenstreet. And this is Peter Lorre.
Tonight, Lady Esther presents the Screen Guild Players in Warner Brothers' sensational mystery story, The Maltese Falcon. It stars Humphrey Bogart as Private Detective Sam Spade, Mary Astor as Miss Wonderly, Sidney Greenstreet as Caspar Gutman, and Peter Lorre as Joel Cairo. This is the story of the Maltese Falcon and of the people whose lives it touched and seared. It began in San Francisco when a beautiful young woman, who identified herself as Miss Wonderly, walked into the offices of Spade and Archer, private detectives. Miss Wonderly had just told Sam Spade why she wished to engage detectives when Spade's partner, Miles Archer, entered the office.
Oh, excuse me, Sam. No, it's all right, Miles. Come in. Miss Wonderly, this is Miles Archer, my partner.
How do you do?
Oh, I'm pleased to meet you. Miss Wonderly's sister ran away from New York with a fellow named Floyd Thursby. They're here in San Francisco. Miss Wonderly has seen Thursby and has a date with him tonight. Maybe he'll bring the sister with him. The chances are he won't. Miss Wonderly wants us to find the sister Get her away from Thursby and back home.
But I want you to know that he's a dangerous man. I don't think he'd stop at anything. I don't believe he'd hesitate to kill Corinne, my sister, if he thought it would save him.
Uh-huh. What time is he coming to see you, Miss Wonderly?
After 8 o'clock.
All right, Miss Wonderly, we'll have a man there.
Well, I'll look after it myself.
Thank you, Mr. Archer. Will $200 be enough for a retainer?
Oh, plenty. Oh, it'll help if you meet Thursby in your hotel lobby, Miss Wonderly.
I will. Thank you again.
Goodbye. Well, Archer, what do you think of her?
Sweet. I'm going to enjoy shadowing her.
Okay, sucker. You call me if you run into any trouble. Hello? Yes, it's Spade.
This is Lieutenant Dundee, Spade.
What's on your mind, Copper?
Thought you might be interested in knowing that your partner, Archer, was found in an alley near the St. Mark, shot through the heart from close range. Blast burnt his coat. Coming down for a look at him before he's moved?
No. You've seen everything I could.
His gun was tucked away on his hip. It hadn't been fired. His overcoat was buttoned. Was he working, Sam? Well?
He was supposed to be tailing a fellow named Floyd Thursby.
What for?
Now, don't crowd me. I'll see you after I break the news to Archer's wife.
I'll be there in a couple of hours.
Oh, hello, Copper. Come on in.
Break the news to Archer's wife, Sam?
Uh-huh.
What kind of a gun do you carry?
None. I don't like 'em much.
You don't just happen to have one on you.
Search me. Turn the dump upside down if you want to. I won't squawk if you got a search warrant.
Why were you tailing Floyd Thursby, Sam?
I wasn't. Archer was, for the swell reason that we had a client who was paying good money to have him tailed.
Who's the client?
Sorry, I can't tell you that.
You didn't go to Archer's house to tell his wife. I called up and the girl from your office was there, and she said you told her to go.
What are you leading up to?
Just this, Spade. Floyd Thursby was shot down in front of his hotel about a half an hour after I talked to you.
Oh. I came into my apartment just a few minutes ahead of you. I was walking around thinking things over.
I knew you weren't here. I tried to get you on the phone. Where'd you walk to?
Just around. Thursby die?
Yeah.
How'd I kill him? I forget.
He was shot 4 times in the back.
Hotel people know anything about him?
Nothing. Except he'd been there a week.
Alone?
Alone.
You find out who he was? What his game was?
No, I thought you could tell me that.
I've never seen Thursby dead or alive.
Now, look, Spade. You know me. If you did get Thursby, you'll get a square deal from me. And most of the breaks. I don't know that I'd blame you a lot. Man that killed your partner. But that wouldn't keep me from nailing you.
That's fair enough. Now, would you mind scramming? I got some thinking to do, and I'd like to get a little sleep before daylight. Hello? Yeah, this is Sam Spade. Oh, I was just going to call you. Where are you? Well, the Coronet on California Street, apartment 101? What's that? The name's Miss LeBlanc. Okay, I'll be right out. Oh, good morning.
Come in, Mr. Spade. Mr. Spade, I've a terrible, terrible confession to make. That story I told you yesterday was all just a story.
Oh, that. Well, we didn't exactly believe your story, Miss, is your name Wonderly or LeBlanc?
It's really O'Shaughnessy, Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Oh. Well, Miss O'Shaughnessy, as I said, we didn't exactly believe your story. We believed your $200.
Oh?
Yes, you see, you paid us too much to be telling the truth.
You knew that when you accepted the money?
Oh, I suspected it. I was positive when Joe Cairo called on me.
Joe Cairo?
Yeah. Yeah, he seems interested in Floyd Thursby, too.
What did he say?
About what?
About me?
Nothing.
Well, what did he talk about?
Well, he offered me $5,000 for a black statuette of a bird. He was pretty sure I had it or knew where it was.
Do you?
Oh, I think I know someone who does, and $5,000 is a lot of money. But right now, the police are trying to find out who hired us to tail Floyd Thursby.
Mr. Spade, do they know about me?
No, I don't think they do. I've been able to stall them so far.
Must they know about me at all, Mr. Spade? Couldn't you manage somehow to shield me from them?
Maybe. But I'll have to know what it's all about.
I can't tell you now. Later I will, when I can. You must trust me, Mr. Spade. Oh, I'm so alone and afraid. I've got nobody to help me if you won't help me. Be generous, Mr. Spade. You're strong. You're brave. You can spare me some of that strength and courage, surely.
Sister, you don't need much of anybody's help. You're good. Chiefly your eyes, I think, and that throb you get in your voice when you say things like, be generous, Mr. Spade.
All right. I deserve that. But the lie was in the way I said it, and not at all in what I said.
Ah, now you are dangerous. Still, Cairo offered me $5,000.
It's far more than I could ever offer you if I must bid for your loyalty.
Yeah, that's good coming from you. Have you given me any of your confidence, any of the truth? I can't go ahead without more confidence in you than I have now.
Can't you trust me just a little while?
Well, how much is a little? And what are you waiting for?
I must talk to Joe Cairo.
Oh. Well, you can see him tonight. I know where to reach him.
Oh, he can't come here. I can't let him know where I am. I'm afraid.
We'll all meet at my place, then.
All right.
I'm delighted to see you again, Mrs. Shaughnessy.
I was sure you would be, Joe. Mr. Spade told me about your offer for the Maltese Falcon. How soon can you have the money ready?
Oh, it is ready.
You are ready to give us $5,000 if we turn the Falcon over to you?
I shall be able to give you the money as soon as the bank opens in the morning.
But I haven't got the Falcon.
Then why did you send for me?
Because I'll have it in another week.
Yes? Where is it?
Where Floyd hid it.
If you know where he hid it, why must we wait a week? And why are you willing to sell it to me?
I'm afraid. After what happened to Floyd, I'm afraid to touch it except to turn it over to somebody else right away.
Exactly what did happen to Floyd?
The fat man.
Gutman? Is he here?
I don't know. I suppose so.
If you two let me interrupt for a second, I can answer that. Gutman is here.
How do you know?
Because he called me and asked me to see him.
Have you?
Not yet. I thought that after our friend Cairo here left, I'd find out just how you and I stand before I took on any more clients.
Now do you know how you and I stand, Sam?
Yeah. If I can believe anything about you. But you're such a liar.
I am a liar. I've always been a liar.
Well, I wouldn't brag about it. Was there any truth at all in that yarn you were telling me about Thursby and the Falcon?
Some. Not very much.
Well, we've got all night before us.
I'm so tired. So tired of lying and thinking up lies and not knowing what is a lie and what is the truth. I wish...
Hey, look, honey. I think I'd better have a talk with Gutman in the morning. Now, Mr. Gutman, shall we talk about the Falcon?
Oh, by all means, Mr. Spade. But first, answer me a question. Are you here as Miss O'Shaughnessy's representative?
Well, there's nothing certain about it either way yet. It depends.
Maybe it depends on Joel Cairo?
Maybe.
The question then, Mr. Spade, is which you'll represent. It'll be Miss O'Shaughnessy or Mr. Cairo.
I didn't say so.
Who else is there?
There's me.
Oh, well, that's wonderful, sir, wonderful. I do like a man who tells you right out he's looking out for himself. Don't we all?
Uh-huh. Now let's talk about the Black Bird.
Let's, Mr. Spade. Have you any conception of how much money can be got out of that blackbird?
No, but you just tell me what it is, and I'll figure out the profits.
You mean you don't know what that bird is?
I know it's black enameled, about a foot high, and I know the value in human life you people put on it.
Miss O'Shaughnessy didn't tell you what it is?
He offered me
Cairo didn't either?
He offered me $10,000 for it.
Do either of them know what that bird is, sir? What is your impression?
Well, there's not much to go by, but I don't think so.
If they don't know, I'm the only one in the whole wide, sweet world who does.
Good. And when you tell me, there'll be two of us.
Mathematically correct, sir. But I don't know for certain that I'm going to tell you.
Well, you think again and think fast. You'll do your talking today or you're through. What are you wasting my time for? I can get along without you.
That remains to be seen, Mr. Spade. They're away.
And there's another thing. Keep that gunman of yours away from me while you're making up your mind, or I'll kill him.
Well, sir, I must say you have a very violent temper.
Think it over. You got till 5:30. Then you're either in or out for keeps.
Wilma.
I'm going to kill that guy. I could have done it easy when he was standing there with his back to me.
Of course you could, my boy. But business before pleasure. And we'll be seeing Mr. Spade again before 5:30.
So ends Act One of The Maltese Falcon, starring Peter Lorre, Sidney Greenstreet, Mary Astor, and Humphrey Bogart. Act Two in just a moment. But first, here's a word from our hostess, Lady Esther.
Some weeks ago, I was being shown through a shipyard, one of the largest in the country, and stopped to chat with a young woman wearing a safety mask. It gave her a stern, rather severe look, but when she removed the mask to chat with me, she was young and blonde and very lovely. Her skin looked so dainty and fresh that I just couldn't resist saying, "My, you look as though you just stepped out of a bandbox." She laughed and said, "Oh, I've been on the job since early this morning, and I haven't even had time to repowder my face. But after all, I do use your powder, you know." Of course, she's only one of millions of busy, important women who use Lady Esther face powder, partly because of its remarkable clinging quality. They explain that when they use Lady Esther face powder, they have the comfortable feeling that their skin always looks smooth and fresh, never streaked, caked, or shiny. But that's only one of the reasons why more lovely women now use Lady Esther face powder than any other kind. There are two other important reasons. First, the texture of my powder is so flattering that it hides little lines and blemishes, makes your skin look younger. And second, the shades of Lady Esther face powder are so rich, vivid, and alive, they give new interest, a look of new beauty to your skin. And both the unusual texture and the flattering shades are the result of my patented twin hurricane method of making face powder. So if you'd like to have your skin look softer, smoother, younger, and look that way for hours at a time, just try Lady Esther face powder.
And now the curtain rises on the second act of The Maltese Falcon, starring Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade, Mary Astor as Bridget O'Shaughnessy, Sidney Greenstreet as Casper Gutman, the fat man, and Peter Lorre as Joel Cairo. Late in the afternoon, following Sam Spade's visit to Gutman's apartment, a dying man staggered into Spade's office and collapsed on the floor. He died before he could speak to Spade, but his papers identified him as Captain Jacoby of the steamship La Paloma, and clutched to his bullet-torn chest was the Maltese Falcon. After depositing the Falcon in a railroad station check room and mailing the identification check to his private post office box, Sam met Bridget O'Shaughnessy and took her to his apartment.
You know, Sam, I never would have placed myself in this position if I hadn't trusted you completely.
Oh, that again?
But you know that's so.
You don't have to trust me as long as you can persuade me to trust you.
But Sam, darling.
Well, I think we better let it go at that until we see what happens after Gutman gets here.
The fat man? Here?
Certainly, why not? Anyway, that should be him. So it's too late to change our plans. I'll be right back. Oh, hello, Gutman.
Good evening, sir.
I see you brought company. I can understand the gunman, but I didn't know Cairo was a friend of yours.
No, we're old acquaintances. Now that we're all here, let's go in and sit down and be comfortable and talk.
Oh, sure. Come on in. Oh, look, Angel. Gutman brought a couple of friends along.
Good evening, Mr. Shaughnessy.
Hello, Joe.
You look unusually charming this evening, my dear.
Thanks.
The Gunsul doesn't talk, Angel. Get away from me, punk.
Stand still and shut up.
Listen, you're not going to frisk me, touch me, and I'm going to make you use that gun. Ask your boss if he wants me shut up before we talk.
Never mind, Wilma. Oh, you're certainly a most headstrong and unpredictable individual, Mr. Spade. Now, why did you send for me?
You ready to make the first payment and take the Falcon off my hands?
The Falcon?
That's right, Angel. I've got it.
Well, sir, I have in this envelope $10,000.
10,000? Oh, we were talking about more money than that.
Yes, sir, we were, but there are more of us to be taken care of now.
Well, that may be, but I've got the Falcon.
I shouldn't think it would be necessary to remind you, Mr. Spade, that though you may have the Falcon, yet we certainly have you.
Yes, I'm trying not to let that worry me, but let the money wait. There's another thing to be taken care of first. We've got to have a fall guy.
I beg your pardon?
Police have got to have a victim, somebody they can stick for those 3 murders.
Two. Only 2 murders, Mr. Spade. Thursby undoubtedly killed your partner.
All right, 2 then. Well, the point I've got to give the police, a victim when the time comes. If I don't, I'll be it. Let's give him Wilmer here.
Why, you dirty rat.
He actually did shoot Thursby and Jacoby, didn't he? Anyway, he's made to order for the part. Let's turn him over to them.
By God, so you are a character, that you are. There's never any telling what you'll say or do next, except that it's bound to be something astonishing.
Well, it's our best bet. With him in their hands, the police will forget the rest of us.
Your plan is not at all practical, sir. Let's not say anything more about it.
All right. I have another suggestion. Let's give him Cairo.
Well, by God, sir.
Suppose we give him you, Mr. Spade, or Mr. Shaughnessy. How about that, huh?
Sam, you wouldn't.
You people want the Falcon, I've got it. The fall guy is part of the price I'm insisting on.
You seem to forget you're not in a position to insist on anything.
No? If you kill me, how are you going to get the Falcon?
By God, sir, you are a character.
Well?
Well, what else can I do? I'm sorry, Wilma. Terribly sorry. I want you to know that I couldn't be any fonder of you if you were my own son. But, well, if you lose a son, it's possible to get another. And there's only one Maltese Falcon.
You rat, I'll kill you for this.
Thank you, Mr. Spade. When you're as young as Wilma, one simply doesn't understand these things.
And how about some coffee, Bridget? Put the pot on, will you? I don't like to leave my guests.
Surely. Anything to get out of here.
Now, sir, let's get down to business.
I ought to have more than 10,000.
Of course, sir, you understand this is the first payment. You still don't understand the Falcon's worth.
Well, a black enamel bird can't be worth millions.
But it is. Otherwise, I should not have spent 17 years of my life trying to acquire it. The black enamel you refer to, sir, is merely camouflage, covering a solid gold bird encrusted from head to foot with the finest jewels.
Okay. So I get millions later. How's about 15,000 now?
Frankly and candidly, and on my word of honor as a gentleman, 10,000 I gave you is all the money I can raise right now.
Yeah, but you didn't say positively.
Positively.
Well, if that's the best you can do, it's the best you can do. But it's understood the punk has to stand as the fall guy.
That is part of our agreement, sir?
Okay, I'll make a phone call. The Falcon will be here in an hour.
It's a fake. Huh? This is not the Maltese Falcon. Why? This is a lead imitation covered with the same enamel. See where I've shaved it off with a knife lead. Pure lead.
You bungled it. You, Gutman. You and your stupid attempt to buy it from the Russian who owned it. He caught on to how valuable it was. No wonder we had so little trouble stealing it. You imbecile. You bloated idiot.
Well, sir, what do you suggest? Shall we stand here and shed tears and call each other names? Or shall we pay the Russian another call in Istanbul?
Are you going?
17 years I've wanted that little item, and I intend to get it. Another year, well, sir, that will be an additional expenditure of time on only 5 and 15/17%.
I go with you.
Good. And Wilma?
Wilma,
Where is the boy?
He must have made his getaway while we were unwrapping the Falcon.
A swell lot of thieves.
Well, sir, I left to ask you to return my 10,000.
I held up my end. It's your hard luck, not mine, if you didn't get what you wanted.
I'm sorry, but I must insist.
Oh, a hideout gun, huh? Okay.
Thank you, sir. The shortest farewells are the best. Adieu. And to you, Miss O'Shaughnessy, I leave the fake Falcon as a little memento. Oh, come, Carl.
Hello, police department. Lieutenant Dundee there. Put him on. Tell him Sam Spade's calling. Now, look, Angel. Gutman and Cairo will talk when the cops nail them about us. We've only got minutes to get set for the police. Now, give me your whole story, fast.
Well, where shall I begin?
The day you first came to my office. Why did you want Thursby shadowed?
I suspected him of betraying me to Gutman, and I wanted to find out.
That's a lie. Gutman tried to make a deal with him. You had Thursby hooked, and you knew it. You wanted to get him out of the way before Captain Jacoby arrived with the Falcon. Isn't that so? What was your scheme?
I thought if he saw someone following him, he might be frightened into going away.
Now, look, Archer hadn't many brains, but he wasn't clumsy enough to be spotted the first night. You must have told Thursby he was being followed.
I told him. Yes. But please believe me, Sam, I wouldn't have told him if I'd thought Floyd would kill him.
If you thought he wouldn't kill Archie, you were right, Angel.
Didn't he?
Archie had been a detective too long to be caught shadowing a man up a blind alley with his gun tucked away in his hip and his overcoat buttoned. But he'd have gone up there with you, Angel. He was just dumb enough for that.
Sam.
And then you could have stood as close to him as you liked, there in the dark. Put a hole through him with a gun you'd gotten from Thursby that evening.
Don't talk to me like that, Sam. You know I didn't.
Now, the police will be blowing in any minute now, Angel. Talk.
Oh, why do you accuse me of such a terrible...
Why did you shoot Archer? You thought Thursby would tackle him and one or the other would go down. If Thursby was killed, then you were rid of him. If it was Archer, then you could see that Thursby was caught. Was that it?
Something.
And when you find
like
out
that
that Thursby didn't mean to tackle Archie, you borrowed the gun and did it yourself, right?
I guess so.
I know so. You didn't know Gutman was here looking for you until you learned Thursby was shot. Then you needed another protector. So you came back to me.
Yes, but no, sweetheart, it wasn't only that. I would have come back to you sooner or later. From the very first instant I saw you, I knew that...
Ah, you angel. Well, if you get a good break, you'll be out of San Quentin in 20 years.
Sam, you're not...
Yes, Angel. I'm going to send you over. But if they hang you, I'll always remember you.
Don't, Sam. Don't say that. Even in fun.
It's not fun. I happen to be in the detective business, and you killed my partner. It's bad business to let the killer get away with it. Bad for every detective in this country. You're taking the fall.
You've been playing with me. Only pretending you cared. To trap me like this. You didn't care at all. You don't love me.
I think I do. But what of it? I won't play the sap for you.
You know it's not like that. You can't say that.
I am saying it.
You know down deep in your heart, you know that in spite of everything I've done, I love you.
I don't care who loves who. You killed Archer. And you're going over for it. Come in. Oh, hello, Copper.
Hello, Sam.
You get Gutman and Cairo?
We got Cairo. Gutman's dead. Kid Wilmer had just finished shooting him when we got there.
I ought to have expected that. You better put the cuffs on Angel, Copper. We're taking her down to the station.
What charge?
Sam.
Murder. She shot Miles Archer. Oh, and you better bring that blackbird along, too, Copper. It's part of the evidence against Cairo.
Hey, this is heavy. What's it made of?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
So ends the story of the Maltese Falcon. Thank you, Mary Esther, Humphrey Bogart, Sidney Greenstreet, and Peter Lorre for appearing with the Lady Esther Screen Guild players tonight, and also for telling us a most exciting story.
It was our pleasure, Mr. Bradley. We all had a wonderful time making the picture, and the radio version tonight brought back some wonderful memories. Then, too, knowing that the benefits from these programs support the Motion Picture Country House and Clinic give us an added incentive. And now, before we tell you about next week's program, here's a word from one of America's best-known beauty authorities, Lady Esther.
Thank you, Miss Astor. Ladies, you know it's surprising the number of letters new users of Lady Esther face powder have sent me in the last few months. So many of them say the same thing, that Lady Esther face powder is an entirely different kind of powder, that it does wonderful things for the appearance of the skin, makes it look softer, smoother, and often years younger. Well, Lady Esther face powder is more flattering, more becoming, because my powder isn't just mixed, just blended like ordinary face powder. It's made by a method new, unique, exclusively mine. You see, Lady Esther face powder is blown at whirling speed by my famous twin hurricanes. Yes, my patented twin hurricane process blows and whips color and powder particles together until they're evenly married, blended into a fine, smooth, sheer mist of beauty, finer in texture and truer in shade than powder ever made by ordinary methods. That's why Lady Esther face powder smooths on so much more evenly, and why the shades of my powder are so clear and alive. They make your skin younger looking, more vivid, far lovelier. Why don't you try Lady Esther face powder and see how much happier you'll be with the appearance of your skin?
Before we tell you about next week's program, Humphrey Bogart has a word to say from our government.
As you all know, the Third War Loan Drive is on full steam, the drive to back the attack our fighting forces are making against our enemies. As our share toward victory, we at home must buy $15 billion worth of war bonds, which means each one of us must dig down deeper into our own pockets. Each of us must buy at least one extra bond this month. We have to win this war, and we will win, all right. But how soon we win is up to every one of us. So buy an extra war bond this week, sure, to help speed our day to victory.
Next week, the Lady Esther Screen Guild players will present highlights from Warner Brothers' great new musical picture, Thank Your Lucky Stars. It will star Joan Leslie, Dennis Morgan, Dinah Shore, and Eddie Cantor. Be sure to listen. Humphrey Bogart can soon be seen